Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first one is from Unlucky Charm 07. We've all had those customers who come in pretty close to closing a shop. I'm also pretty sure we've had those people who think that they have all the time in the world to shop just because they made it in the store before the doors shut. However, that is not the case. If you're a couple minutes past closing, that's usually fine, but it's not when you plan to spend another 15 minutes or so longer. So around 5 minutes to closing time at the store I work at, there was still one customer shopping with a grocery cart. He's a regular customer. The 15-minute and 5-minute closing announcements had been done. When we do the 5-minute closing announcement, we politely ask that all customers still in the store bring up their items so that we can finish up our closing procedures and go home. Usually, us cashiers aren't too bad about late shoppers who are cutting it close, but it was really annoying to see someone with a full cart still strolling around. The time we closed came around and we had to do a "we're officially closed, please bring your items up to the front" kind of announcement. And this guy kept on walking. The people in grocery reminded him that we were closing and that he could come back tomorrow to get the last things he was missing, but he ignored them. Eventually, my coworker on till told the man that we were closed and that she would ring his groceries through. He turned to her and said, "Do you know how much money I spend at your store?" She replied, "I understand, but we are still closed and we have to ask you to pay for the groceries you have now and come back tomorrow." Thankfully, the man finally went through her till, though he was still pretty annoyed that he had been asked to leave. He complained a bit more, but my coworker kindly explained that when we're closed, we have a couple more things that need to be done after all the customers are out, and we unfortunately won't be paid overtime. Just because you spend X amount of money at a place doesn't mean that their hours revolve around you, but apparently with this customer, that's exactly how their mindset was. This next one is also by Unlucky Charm 07. Me and two other coworkers were on the till at the time. It wasn't very busy, and we were waiting patiently for customers to come up so we could serve them. This guy walks up between my till and my coworkers and asks me if I can help him. He tells me that he's looking for a liver product in the meat department, but he can't seem to find it. Since there was nobody working in the meat department at that time, he was wondering if we could help look for it or get someone else who could. I asked him what type of liver he was looking for specifically. He told me it was beef liver. By that time, my coworker piped up and was going to offer to go help him look. She asked me as a sort of casual verification that the liver was in the meat department. Before I could say anything, the man suddenly got super annoyed and started to yell at my coworker and I. He threw his stuff on my coworker's till and said just to ring him through, but before she could even do that, he changed his mind and said he didn't even want it, and stormed out. During the situation, I had called for a manager to come up. Unfortunately, the manager arrived seconds after the guy had left. He asked what happened, and all three of us cashiers reiterated everything that happened. Of course, since the guy was already gone, there wasn't anything we can do about it. It was a pretty stressful situation for all of us, but we were able to laugh it off and continue on with the rest of our shifts. Still, we were all pretty shaken up. Who literally has a meltdown like this because another coworker chimes in offering to help? Like, especially after you asked these people to help you. I don't know, maybe this customer was having a bad day, but wow. And our final one is from Chibi Chulala. I own a small game store cafe in a small town. I'm the only one within 45 miles, but there's still competition from farther stores as people out here are used to driving long distances already. I have lots of stories from the time I've opened, and I've learned a lot. Also, while this story does involve coffee, my primary business is retail. This day was fairly quiet. We had a couple shoppers here and there, but otherwise not so busy. My husband was helping me this day, and while he does his best, I'm still more adept at making coffees. This didn't matter here though. Generally, when people would come in and order a coffee, first thing we would get it made and give it to them while they continue to shop. Cashing them out right away was something that I, at the time, concluded would create more hesitation in additional purchases. No one wants to stand at the counter and scan their cards multiple times in a row. I've since learned that people actually don't mind that, and frequently, when they're here for long hours, it's as though it's a competition to see how many times they can scan their cards for a couple of dollars at a time in one visit. One regular's personal best was 9. We've begun running tabs. A couple came in, first-time visitors, though I wouldn't call them customers. They each ordered coffees, frappes I think, vanilla. They continued to browse, so my husband just jumped on making them while I tidied up around him. They received their drinks and sat down in our comfy chairs to chat. Then the man brings his back. "No flavor," he said. Weird, considering I was sure I'd seen him put just as much vanilla in as I normally do, and I had tasted it before made the same way and thought it was fantastic, but I added more. So at this point, the drink probably had 10 pumps of vanilla in it, blended it back up, and gave it to him. I was feeling particularly anxious about this screw-up. We were a fairly new shop at the time and still learning the ropes, trying to entice customers to come back or to visit in the first place. How could we have screwed up something so simple? Surely these people wouldn't be coming back, and I had failed. They thanked me and continued to chat, shopping around a bit, enthused about how the coffee finally had enough flavor, and we got busy doing other things, helping someone else at the counter, cleaning, etc., discussing how we'd made the coffee and how we could do it better. Then they left. No transaction had been rung up. They never approached the counter to attempt to pay. No, they simply left, over vanillaed frappes and all. I blame this partially on myself, as I hadn't stopped them on the way out, partially on my husband, as he had handled the order, and partially on the 2 people who complained about the flavor of the coffee and left without paying. I've never seen them again. Lesson learned. New visitors always pay for the coffees up front. Also, some people truly do have dead taste buds. You gotta love how this couple literally had the audacity to not only complain about the coffee, but then not pay for it, as if that coffee was supposed to be free for the initial mistake in the first place. And I definitely know why OP hasn't seen these people again. They were just looking to take. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.